Good morning, church. It's time for your 5 minutes with God. I would love to share a story with you from Luke chapter 7. It starts in verse 36. And so Jesus is at the house of Simon the Pharisee. He's been invited there for dinner. And all of the men are reclining at the table. So their head is near the table and their feet are back behind. And so there is a woman who lived in the town, a sinful woman. And she has discovered that Jesus is at the party. And so she crashes the party. And as she stands behind Jesus, she begins to weep. And she washes his feet with her tears. And she dries his feet with her hair. And she's kissing his feet. And she's brought very expensive perfume to anoint them. And Simon looks at the woman. And in his mind, to himself, he is thinking, if this man were a prophet, he would know what kind of a woman is touching him, that she is a sinner. And so Jesus, knowing what Simon is thinking, says, Simon, let me tell you a little story. There are two men who owe the same moneylender. One owes about 50 days' wages. One owes about 500 days' wages, two vastly different amounts. But neither man can repay the money. So the moneylender forgives both the debts. And so Jesus says, Simon, who do you think loved the moneylender more? And Simon says, well, I guess the one who has been forgiven the most. And Jesus says, you have judged correctly. And he says, Simon, do you see this woman? Do you see this woman? You did not offer me water for my feet when I came into your house, but she has washed my feet with her tears and dried them with her hair. You didn't greet me with a kiss when I came to your household, but she has not ceased kissing my feet. You didn't offer me any oil for my head when I came here, which would have been a very hospitable thing to do at the end of a hot day in the desert. But she has brought very expensive perfume and anointed my feet. And then Jesus says in verse 47, therefore I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, for she loved much. And so what's our couple takeaways from that? I mean, there's a couple things that I noticed right off the bat. First of all, he says to Simon, do you see this woman? Well, clearly Simon had seen the woman. He had looked at her. He had judged her. He had judged Jesus. But I wonder what Jesus saw when he looked at the woman. I think he saw her sins. I think he saw her scars. I think he saw her baggage. I think he saw her life choices, good and bad. But I also think he saw her hopes and her dreams, her God potential. I think most of all, he saw the image of God that had been placed there by her creator. You know, the Bible says that we have all been created in the image of God. And two, Jesus tells us what he sees in her in verse 47. He says, therefore I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, for she loved much. Jesus saw love in her. And so my challenge for you today, church, is to see people the way that Jesus sees people. Look for the image of God that has been placed there by our Creator. And two, think about how much you have been forgiven and love much. Have a great day, church. I can't wait to see you.